Hey guys, Anya here, and we have sound again. I didn't get a video uploaded at all last week because my computer decided that it was going to have sound card problems, so I didn't have any input or output. I couldn't do a thing. So I think that we got it fixed, given my computer the evil eye as I talk because it's given me so many problems. We're actually in the process of getting a new beast built, and we should have it in about 2 weeks, so you can expect my quality to go up and my uploads to go up. But today what I want to share with you is how I build my tabletop scenery. I know that I've shared some things on Twitter, the individual things I made like the boxes and the lantern. The first completed piece I shared on Twitter, I'll show you that again here, and then we'll go through and we'll put everything together. I'm having a blast with it. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I love doing it. I'm actually in the process of building an entire game board, so I am going to have this kick off kind of the start of a series of how I go through and complete my game board so you guys can kind of do it with me and see how I'm doing everything. So yeah, I'll show you all the supplies and then we'll go ahead and put it together, and I hope you guys enjoy. So I will see you and let's get going. Okay, so as you can see, I've got a good amount of stuff here. Let me kind of go through and show you everything that I used. Just for this project, what the rocks are made out of, this is actually just rigid foam insulation. I think this is 1/2 inch. Some other tools that I have, these are just wire cutters. This one is spring loaded, this one's not, just 2 different sizes. These are some matchsticks. This is what I use when I make fences, or these are actually plant sticks. I use them because of the wires that are on them. Here you can see I take the wires off. The actual sticks make really good fence posts, and then the wires kind of make the connecting wires. These are just wooden cubes I got from the dollar store. These are what the boxes are made out of. Here you can actually see the fence is just stuck into some floral foam. I'm not sure what you call them, these little things on the box. I don't know. These things are actually just the masking tape. I just built up some masking tape and taped it over the box and then painted over everything. There you can see the bottom is just the box, and then the top has the kind of slat things on them. This is what I use to make some grass and vegetation, and then I just keep it in here. This is an old picture wire kind of storage thing, and I've just used that to kind of keep everything together. Scissors, everybody needs scissors. This is the mosses that I have. I actually found these at the dollar store too. I love the dollar store. The majority of my craft things come from there. This is Spanish moss. This is just run-of-the-mill kind of floral moss. This is also just a different brand of the floral moss. I found these actually at the Dollar Tree. This is air dry modeling clay. I've not used this yet. I actually just got this today from Dollarama. You can see. I'm in Canada. I'm not sure. I've never seen a Dollarama in the States. I know there's Dollar Trees. I don't know if maybe just Dollar General. I can't talk today. Maybe has them. This is my box of supplies and paintbrushes and carving things. The majority of my paintbrushes are just kind of crap dollar store. Some of these are good ones that I've had since I was in college. This is a really nice, well, it's old, it was really nice, watercolor brush that has since been used for acrylic, so it's no good for watercolor. This is another brush I use for acrylic. I originally got this for oil paints, but I don't paint with oils anymore. These were kind of expensive brushes that I got back when I was in art school. These are actually engraving supplies, but they work really well on foam as well. I use these when I do woodcuts. Some more, these are just the kind of cheap brushes. Some of these brushes are pretty old. Pens, these are the cheap brushes I actually got at Dollar Tree just for gluing. This is just cheap Elmer's glue. I also have some craft glue, but it dries glossy, so I don't use that very much. I tried to make some water out of it. I'm still having a hard time trying to figure out how to make water because everything has bubbles in it. I also have some screws in here. I can show you how I use the screws. I actually use them when I make my rocks. You can see the hole in the bottom. It fits on the screw, and that keeps it up so I can paint it. I don't have to get any paint on my hands, and then it can just set up like this while it dries. So for supplies, that's the majority. My game board's actually made out of a 1-inch foam, but a lot of the things that I've been making, like with these rocks, is rigid foam. This base is rigid foam from the 1/2 inch. So that's about as far as I got with supplies. As I get some more, I might do a video just specifically outlining all of my supplies. So let's get into actually building this thing now. Okay, so we are ready to start putting this together. I have all of these rocks. I'm not positive which one I'm going to use, so I just kind of put a variety of sizes out here. I think the first thing that I'm going to do is, here's my fence, and as you can see I used the matchsticks for this one. I'm going to cut the bottom of this off because I don't necessarily want them this size, and the bottom isn't painted. These are going to just fly off everywhere. Let's do it this way. Sorry if my hands are getting in the way. I'm trying not to block the whole camera. Okay. So honestly, these just kind of push down in really easy. So I'm just going to kind of curve it to where I want. Don't have a huge plan of how I'm going to outline these. And they just push down in really nice, especially with this foam. My last model, I actually used a floral foam, and it actually works amazing for carving, but it is just so fragile. Okay, this one is having a little bit of issues, so I may... Oh, we'll be right back. I have to find a way to kind of deepen these holes a little bit. And another engraving tool to save the day. I actually used this when I made intaglio printing when I was in school. So I'm just kind of gonna, because this is really sharp on the tip, so I'm just gonna use this to kind of force this down. There we go. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue down in here, if I can get the glue out. Maybe something's wrong with me. There's a cap on it, that's why. I've never seen that before, that's weird. Let's try this again. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue in it. This is supposed to dry matte. It's just like Elmer's glue. It's just an off-brand. Because if you haven't been able to tell by my videos so far, I'm very cheap. Okay, so we're just going to stick these down in here and let that dry. I'm also going to put a little bit of vegetation at the bottom, so it shouldn't be a huge deal. And I want to figure out where I want to put these boxes on here now. Let me turn this around. This one, I got carried away and actually did every side, so it doesn't matter. This one is flat on the bottom, so I knew which way I wanted to put it on the bottom. So I think I might just sit them like this. Put a little bit of glue. Not too much, because you don't want it to kind of squish out on the sides. And then I did paint this base, just kind of general wood, dirt and grass. So that way I can just kind of add some vegetation onto it, just so I have kind of a base color. The vegetation comes off kind of easy, So I don't want to put that down, especially if you have something like flocking. If you try and put your vegetation down first and then put your boxes or stones or whatever you're going to put on top of it, it's a good chance that it's not going to stick. So I always add the vegetation on last. I'm going to take this little tiny box. I love this. This is so cute. I can't get over how cute this little box is. There's my girly moment for the video. Put just a tiny bit, and then I'm just going to stack that on top like that. This is my pride and joy for this little project. This is my lantern. This is real glass on the inside. Hopefully this focuses okay. Come on, there you go. And then I painted the inside so you can kind of see a little bit of a flame there. I had a pot lid that shattered, and instead of throwing it away, I'm like, I know I can use this for something. So I kept it, and I had it for almost a year, and I finally thought of a way to use it. I could use hot glue for these too. I'm just very impatient, and hot glue gets really stringy. It's kind of a pain sometimes to get it off. I don't think I'm going to use any of these big rocks, so we're going to put those aside. I'm probably just going to use these tiny ones, these 3. So you can see the hole in the bottom, and that's where I put the screw in and set it up to let it dry. So I'll probably put these rocks just between the fence and the boxes. Just kind of scatter them around. This glue comes out fast. I'm probably going to use my tweezers to get this one back here. There we go. Maybe didn't even make enough rocks. A little too much there. It's just, sorry, my hair's getting in the way. And I think maybe one more right there in the middle. Okay. Now I'm going to open this up. This is my little case that I keep. I just chopped up the moss. I've not gotten any flocking. I would like to, but I don't have it yet. So I just chopped it up really fine. You can see it there. And that's kind of what I'm using for grass, especially once you get it out of the bag and let it air dry a little. You can almost just like crumble it up, and it turns into flocking. The older that it gets. This has been in here for a couple weeks, and this is very crunchy. You can probably hear it. So I'm going to start out, and I had kind of pre-picked some little bushes. So I'm going to use that as just the vegetation and kind of stick that down there, decide where I want it, stick some glue on it. That's another good thing about the Elmer's glue. The other craft glue that I had, if I were to put that craft glue on here, it wouldn't necessarily dry matte around the base. It would dry all shiny. So there it is so far, and let me get a tiny brush. I'm going to brush a little bit of glue. See, this is a small brush. This is a tiny brush. That is probably too tiny, so we won't use that one. I'm going to take this floral foam that I had my fence stuck into and just going to use that as a palette for this glue. I'll keep checking to make sure I get everything in the picture. I don't want to be talking and then you guys can't even see what I'm doing. So I'm going to paint a little bit here on this rock. Let me turn this around so you can see. Just to make it kind of like moss. And then just take a little bit of this, kind of sprinkle it on top. And after this dries, I can kind of brush it and take all the excess off. And then wherever I have the green painted, that's where I'm also going to put some of this moss. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just put it right on here and then brush it over. And this looks thin enough that I can spread it around. Back in here a little. And then just sprinkle this on. I also use this board. 1, to protect my table when I'm cutting, 2, to protect my table when I'm painting, and 3, because it's really easy to like catch all of this kind of vegetation and put it back in my box after I'm done. Okay, so I'm just kind of pressing it in. I'm also just using this one type. I know I've got about 3 different colors. This color is the only one that I actually have done up to be able to put on here. Because what I do to make it this fine, honestly, I just grab a chunk and then I just keep trimming it down, like cutting it with my scissors. You can see a little on the back here. And this dries slow enough that I should be able to clean my brush out really well too. That other glue that I have, I lost quite a few brushes because it dries so quick and it dries so plasticky. Let's see if I can get some of this extra stuck on there. Just kind of push it in. And the thing is too, if it doesn't look like it's getting really thick, you can always just let the glue dry and then come in later and put a second layer on it. One that really helps what you do have to stay stuck down, and then it also makes it look a lot thicker. But I think that might be about it. Maybe put just a little bit more vegetation. This has dried out so much too. I think maybe keeping this in a plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag, will help it not to be to dry out so quick and get crumbly. So I'll just stick this back in between the rocks. I also have this razor blade. This was wrapped in tape. That's why it's kind of rusty. It was wrapped in tape for a really long time. I just took it off, but I just used that to kind of clean this up, get it all in a pile, and I can present that to you guys. And I think that is about done. Give it a little turn. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. I like that. So let me go get the other one that I've made and I'll show you it, and then I'll show you what I do have in progress now, because I have another one in progress. So here is the one that I have already completed. I put this on Twitter, a picture of it a while back. This also has the glass inside of it. You can see just as like a broken window. It's got the fence, and this fence actually used the plant spikes instead of the matchsticks, so it's just, the only difference is just it's a little bit thicker, and on the bottom of the plant spikes it is spiky, so it makes it a little bit easier to shove into the foam. This is 100% made out of floral foam. it actually made for a really cool effect on the brick because it was so easy. The bottom is a different kind of floral foam. I would not suggest using this. It's actually what I used, this white circle. I got these. They don't cut well with a hot knife. They just melt and stick to your knife. They're extremely porous, so anything that you make has a lot of holes in it, like that. I was fortunate, I kind of melted down the top, and then the top of this is pretty much completely covered in the flocking, so that disguises it a little bit. Let me show you the bases that I made out of that have not been melted in any way and have just painted. So this is a failed attempt at making a base out of that porous floral foam. It's coming up kind of gray on the screen, but this is just brown. There you can see the bottom of it. So yeah, I don't like that. I think I'm mainly just going to use those circles for holding things while I paint, like putting the fence post in it so it holds it upright while I paint them. This is another one that I did, and this actually is my first attempt at water, and this is that craft glue, and you can see the ridiculous amount of bubbles that are in it. I'm not really sure how else I'm going to try to do this. I don't know, I might try and do it with the Elmer's glue. This isn't Elmer's glue, it's just Dollar Elmer glue, but I don't know if that might dry with a little less bubbles. The other thing that I'm thinking is to get some kind of resin, like do a 2-part resin, because in my game board I actually have a lake and a river running through it, so that will be a challenge. Here's the side that I did kind of melt, and you can see, if this will focus, that it did come out a little smoother, but it's really hard to do that for the entire thing. So that type of floral foam I would not recommend. This type of floral foam, however, I would recommend if you can have a light hand while you're carving. This is the kind where it's really hard to find a good one in the store because all the kids like to stick their fingers in it. So that is what the building of this is made out of, and that really was a dream to carve. And I actually carved the entire thing with my stylus, my engraving stylus, and that was really easy. I did it pretty quick. I think that I carved this entire thing in about 20 minutes. I just cut out the slabs and did the outside how I wanted, and then to carve the bricks didn't take very long at all. So this is our finished project again, and I think that's the end of this episode. I hope that you guys liked it. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter. It's Anya, AYNIA 0723, or just subscribe here on YouTube if you really liked it, and I will have more of these videos out soon. So thank you guys.